Take a breath together. So this month we're looking at emotions. And so just a brief reminder, emotions are physiological. They are biological. They happen whether we like it or not. They happen outside of our control. They are simply a biological, physiological movement of energy. Feelings, on the other hand, is the narrative that we write about that emotion that we just felt. And so this morning, our talk title is The Fear Factor. Could we have a more loaded topic for Mother's Day, please? I mean, give me something to work with here, for crying out loud. Here's the thing. We are just as confused about fear as we are between emotions and feelings. Every living thing that has the ability to scurry away from physical danger does so. Fear is a normal, healthy, biological part of the physical realm. When was the last time when you were out in nature and you saw a rabbit freeze, check out its environment, and then take off? When was the last time you stood there and vilified and condemned and criticized that rabbit for doing that? When was the last time when you're driving down the road and you see a deer on the side of the road and it perceives your vehicle and it runs up the hill away from your vehicle? When was the last time you stopped, you pulled over, got out of your car, and gave that deer a piece of your mind for what a worthless deer it is for reacting to fear? Right? We don't do that. In fact, most of us recognize and appreciate the magic of it, that it has the ability to protect itself. And yet, with ourselves, most of us are very confused about the difference between the fear that is natural and healthy and the crap we make up and call fear. Because most of what we're reacting to has nothing to do with fear. It is narratives, it is stories that we have made up from our pain, from our desire to avoid what we have decided is a bad feeling, or something that we've made up as an outcome that we would prefer to avoid. I think fear shows up best in procrastination. Right? We're so afraid of what we've written inside of our own mind that we're just going to sit and wait. I'm not sure what we're waiting for, because we're the ones writing the script. Now, perhaps we might stumble upon a new narrative, but chances of that happening without us actually participating are slim to none. And so we just paralyze ourselves and do nothing. And I invite you to consider, in the realm of healthy fear, that ability to scurry away from danger in our physical environment. Are you safer when you paralyze yourself or when you move? If something's coming at your head, are you safer if you go, or if you duck? I'm just saying. So perhaps this paralysis of I'm just going to do nothing is worst case scenario when it comes to thought fear. That it is the advocation of the greatest power we have, which is the power of choice. I've debated all week whether or not to even broach the subject. And to be relevant and current, I think I have to. This whole conversation that's happening right now here in the United States, and I preface it with that because it's not happening all over the whole world, but it is a conversation here in the United States of the Roe v. Wade decision and the possibilities of what's going to happen with that. I think we are very, very afraid of the individual power of choice. I think most of our political arguments have very little to do with the argument that's on the surface, and mostly it is our desire to legislate choice because it scares us. It terrifies us as a unit that each individual might actually exercise the free will to make their own choices. Because then what? And most of us, if we're being honest, just hearing that, we immediately start rolling out our story of anarchy and complete chaos. That if everybody really has the power of choice, it'll be out of control. As if it's not already. I'm just saying that perhaps what has put us most out of control is the delusion that we are in control and that we need to control. And perhaps if we're going to heal this idea of separation that is really, as far as I can tell, and from doing my own spiritual work, the only real illness, the only spiritual ill I have ever had is thinking I'm separate. And everything falls downhill from there. And if we know we're not separate, then we live in harmony with what created us. So our choices are in alignment with that harmonious operation of one. And then we're dealing with the chaos of creation, which is everywhere. Everybody who has ever birthed a child. Now, this is Mother's Day. I would love to talk to a mother who experienced any part of that process as anything less than chaotic. Anything less than chaotic. I mean, the very act of lovemaking, pretty chaotic. Just saying. Right? We're all adults. It's a chaotic process. Biologically, what's happening with the sperm and the egg coming together, pretty chaotic process. You don't believe me? Google it. Watch it. It's chaos. Millions of little swimmers. It's complete chaos. And once the fertilization process happens, a woman's body becomes hallowed ground of chaos. Hormones change, growth happens. Centuries of thought start rolling out. Talk about the fear factor. None of us would be here without the courage of a woman who navigated the fear of childbirth. I've been there as an EMT. I've delivered 3 babies as an EMT. Not one of those women was like, I got this. Not one. They were terrified. They were simultaneously joyful and they were terrified. Because each of the women that I delivered their babies happened to be their first baby. And you can read all of the books you want, but they don't prepare you for what's actually going to happen. I mean, I remember that as an EMT. We do all these drills and you read all these things in the books, but it doesn't prepare you for responding to an actual accident with real people on the side of the road. There's no preparation for the immediacy of life. None. None. Because to think that we can actually use thought fear to prepare ourselves for a situation that we've never been in is to presume that something from the past is going to identically repeat itself in the future. Good luck with that. Good luck. Any woman that has birthed more than one child will tell you they weren't the same. They weren't the same. The pregnancy wasn't the same. The birth process wasn't the same. And for sure, the children are not the same. And they're not the same in the animal world. I have 2 dogs from the same litter. They are biological brothers, and they could not be more different. Well, they were gestated together. They were raised together. Aside from their biology, there's nothing alike. Right? So perhaps one of the greatest things we can do is let go of this idea that the past is going to replicate itself. That we can let go of the delusion that we are 100% in the human realm fully prepared to respond to whatever shows up. Now, spiritually, we are equipped. And that's where the fear factor gets resolved. It's knowing that on the human level, I cannot prepare adequately, completely, 100% for the next breath because I don't know what's going to happen. But spiritually, I was born equipped to deal with every breath. But when I distract myself by thinking I have to know in the human realm, I am living in separation and I have cut off my lifeline to the infinite intelligence that I am. I've cut it off. I want to close with this. Creation is not intelligent. It is intelligence. There's a difference. It is intelligence itself. It isn't present. It is presence. Totally different. It isn't powerful. It is power. It isn't loving. It is love. Right? I invite you to know that that is your definition. That you are all of that in form. To give up that one step away from your comfort zone that makes it a little safer to kind of get next to our spiritual truth. And I invite you to dive in ankle deep, but you got to go in head first. Go in head first, get ankle deep, in the truth of who you are? And will it scare the bejabbers out of your human you? Yes, it will. Yes, it will. When you let go of the limitations of your humanity, it is going to scare your humanity because it won't know where it fits in the process. That's okay. That's okay. Just love yourself, all of yourself. Let yourself be afraid. And we'll talk more about this next week. But understand our shadow side is important. And I'll leave you with this. What creates a shadow is simply blocked light. It's simply blocked light. And so how do we get rid of the shadow side? We get into perfect alignment with light. Because if a light is perfectly aligned over an object, there is no shadow. And we'll talk more about how we get in perfect alignment next week. Let's take this into prayer. There is only one. One peace, one power, one intelligence, one presence, one everything. Beyond everything. It is all there is. So I must be made out of it, by it, to be it. Fully human, fully spiritual, fully integrated, fully empowered. And so I speak my word, claiming and affirming a recognition that all that I am, every element of life is. That there is no big or small. There is no more or less. There is no little or big. There's just one. All connected to itself. Expressing in infinite multiplicity. Nothing to fear in the spiritual realm. So I speak my word, claiming and affirming that we lean into the healthy physical, the inborn warning system to scurry away from threat in the physical realm. And that we leave it there, that we celebrate it there as we lean into an undefended, unobstructed experience of our oneness with all creation, of our oneness with creation itself. That we move into perfect alignment where fear has no place, where the operation of choice is empowered by its authentic understanding of itself. And we are moved to be the divine in form and choose from that heart, from that clarity, from intelligence, power, love, peace, presence. We allow that to be our point of choice in alignment with the harmonious operation of one. Nothing to fear. Grateful. Grateful for this divine love that gives so freely of itself to itself, that empowers its creation to choose no matter what. No matter what. No fear to be had of choice. Grateful, grateful, grateful. And so I release, knowing that God, Spirit, the divine, whatever name we put on it, has got this. so we release into that activity, knowing it's already done well, done perfectly. We let go and we simply listen and look for our next move, our next choice. And we say yes to being that in form. And so it is.